When I was in labor, my husband let his mother into the delivery room without asking me. She filmed me without consent, posted a picture before I even held my baby, and captioned it, "My grandson is finally here. Mama did her part. Now it's Grandma's turn." I found out from a comment notification. My husband said, "It's just excitement." I deleted every post, blocked her account, and filed a HIPAA complaint. She hasn't been in a room with me since. This still makes my blood boil when I think about it. I live in Columbus, Ohio. I'm 29 years old, and 9 months ago I had my first baby. I thought it was going to be the happiest day of my life. Instead, it turned into the biggest betrayal I've ever felt. My husband, Matt, and I had been together since college. We'd been married 3 years before we decided to start trying. I thought I knew him. I thought he had my back. Especially when it came to something as private, as painful, as life-changing as giving birth. But apparently, he thought loyalty meant something else. His mother, Doreen, had always been too much. She gave advice I didn't ask for. She commented on my body while I was pregnant. "You're getting big," she'd laugh. Or, "You're carrying wide." Probably a girl. Wide means girl. Pointy means boy. It didn't stop at dumb comments. She tried to tell me how to raise the baby before he was even born. She wanted me to do natural birth, even though my doctor recommended a hospital birth for health reasons. She pushed me to eat organic, but never offered to pay for any of it. She sent me 20 articles a day about how to be a real mother. I told Matt I needed him to set boundaries. He said, "It's just excitement. She's just excited to be a grandma." Every time I said I was uncomfortable, every time I asked him to step up, he'd say that. Like that made it okay. I should have seen it coming. When I went into labor, everything happened fast. I barely had time to get my bag. My contractions were minutes apart. By the time we got to the hospital, I was shaking with pain. I thought it would be just me, Matt, and the nurses. While they were getting me into a gown, the pain hit me like a truck. I was screaming, crying. I wasn't in a state to think clearly. I wasn't even fully aware of who was around me. That's when it happened. I heard her voice. At first, I thought I was hallucinating from the pain. But no, there she was.
Doreen. Loud.
Laughing. Acting like she was at a barbecue, not in a delivery room where her daughter-in-law was half naked and fighting through contractions. And then I heard it.
Click. Click. Click.
The sound of her phone. I looked over, barely able to lift my head, and saw her. Recording. Laughing. Talking about how she couldn't wait to show the ladies at church. I couldn't even speak. I made eye contact with Matt, desperate, begging him with my eyes to do something. He just stood there. He didn't say a word, didn't move, didn't even look guilty. I felt humiliated.
Betrayed.
Powerless. I delivered my son a few minutes later. Through tears, through pain, I reached out to hold him. But before I could, Doreen was barking orders at the nurse. "Take a picture. Get the first picture. Hurry up." I couldn't even process it. I was sobbing too hard. I thought it was over. I thought once we got to our recovery room, I'd finally get peace. But a few hours later, while trying to breastfeed for the first time, my phone buzzed. It was a Facebook notification. Doreen had already posted about the birth. She posted a picture of my son, seconds old, bloody, crying, vulnerable. The caption made me sick. "My grandson is finally here. Mama did her part. Now it's Grandma's turn." The comments were even worse. People congratulating her, like she was the one who went through labor. People tagging me, asking why I hadn't posted anything yet. One woman even commented, "Poor Opie. She looks exhausted. LOL. I found out she had filmed clips too. Clips of me in agony. Clips of me screaming. Clips of me pushing. Without my consent. Without my knowledge. I was shaking so hard I dropped my phone. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't believe what was happening. When Matt walked in, I demanded answers. I showed him the post. He had the nerve to say, "It's just excitement. She didn't mean any harm." I told him to get out. I deleted every single post she made. I blocked her on every platform. And then I called the hospital and filed a HIPAA complaint. Turns out, Matt had lied to the nurses. He told them I had requested Doreen be allowed in. Because it was chaotic and I was screaming, they didn't double-check. They just let her in. After an internal investigation, one nurse was fired for not following protocol. Doreen was banned from the hospital. When Matt came back, I gave him a choice: marriage counseling, strict boundaries, real apologies, or divorce. He agreed to counseling, agreed to boundaries. But he didn't mean it. In counseling, he kept saying it wasn't that big of a deal. She was just happy. OP needs to move on.
No accountability.
Meanwhile, I kept getting notifications from fake accounts. Doreen trying to send me pictures, updates, passive-aggressive messages about how grandmas have rights too. The final straw? I found out Matt had been sneaking our baby over to Doreen's house behind my back. She had posted a new picture. My son in her arms. The caption: "Some things you just can't keep apart. Grandma and her boy blue heart mommy will understand someday." I lost it. I went to a lawyer the next day. Filed for divorce. Filed for full custody. Filed a restraining order against Doreen. I had every receipt. Every post. Every message. The judge didn't need convincing. Matt fought me at first. Tried to play the "we're family" card. But when he realized the judge wasn't buying it, he backed down. Now he gets supervised visits at a neutral center. Doreen isn't allowed anywhere near my son. I moved to a new place. Changed my number. Built a new life from scratch. It's not easy being a single mom. Some days are brutal. But every time I hear my son laugh, every time he sleeps peacefully in my arms, I know I did the right thing. I chose him. I chose me. And they lost. After the divorce was finalized, I thought the worst was over. I was wrong. Doreen wasn't done. A few weeks after the custody order was signed, I started getting strange messages from unknown numbers. Weird things like, "You can't keep a grandson away from his real family forever. You're just mad you're not good enough. You'll be sorry." I blocked every number. Changed my phone. Reported everything to my lawyer. We added it to the restraining order file. Then it escalated. One day after work, I pulled into my new apartment parking lot and noticed something strange. A car I didn't recognize, parked at the end. Lights off, windows down just a crack. I had a bad feeling. I called a neighbor to walk me inside. Once we were in the lobby, I looked back and saw the car drive off fast. I didn't sleep that night. 2 days later, a package showed up on my doorstep. No return address. Inside was a tiny blue onesie that said "Grandma's favorite." And a card. It said, "You can't erase blood." I called the police. They couldn't prove who sent it, but they made a report. They started doing extra patrols around my building. Meanwhile, Matt started acting up during his supervised visits. He kept accidentally mentioning Doreen around my son. Telling him, "Grandma misses you. Grandma loves you so much," planting little seeds in his head. The supervisors caught it and wrote it up. Matt was warned. He didn't care. It became clear he and Doreen had made a plan. If they couldn't control me, they'd try to control my son. At our next court hearing, the judge was furious. She suspended Matt's visitation until he completed counseling and parenting classes. Matt stormed out of the courtroom. 3 days later, I woke up to hundreds of missed calls and texts. Matt had posted on Facebook a public post accusing me of being a bitter, crazy woman who was keeping a loving father and grandmother away from their innocent baby. He tagged Doreen. He posted pictures of my son. Old ones, even though he wasn't supposed to. The post went viral in our town. Suddenly, I was getting nasty messages from people I didn't even know. Calling me selfish. Calling me a monster. Telling me I should be ashamed. I had to lock down all my social media. Delete everything. Make everything private. I cried for hours that night. Not because of what strangers said, but because Matt had done exactly what Doreen did, taken something sacred and private and turned it into a circus. I realized then that Matt had never seen me as a partner. He'd seen me as a prop, a tool to give Doreen a grandchild. Once I gave birth, my feelings didn't matter anymore. Only Doreen's did. I decided I had to do something permanent, something they couldn't undo. I didn't want to live like a fugitive. I didn't want to be scared every time I went to the grocery store. I didn't want my son growing up thinking this kind of madness was normal. So I made a new plan. I filed a motion to terminate Matt's parental rights. It wasn't easy. Courts don't like to cut a parent out unless there's strong proof. I gathered everything. Screenshots of Matt's public posts breaking the custody order, reports from the visitation center about him mentioning Doreen to my son, evidence of harassment, the onesie package, the stalking report, the threatening texts. My lawyer said, "It's going to be hard. Judges don't like this. But if we can show it's damaging your son, we have a shot." I was scared. But I was more scared of letting Matt and Doreen mess with my son's head for the next 18 years. When Matt got served the papers, he lost it. He started showing up at my apartment building, screaming outside, pounding on the door. One night, he even climbed up onto the fire escape, trying to get to my window. I called the police. He got arrested for trespassing and harassment. Doreen made a new Facebook account just to post. Some mothers can't handle when real family wants to be involved. Blood is thicker than bitterness. She made herself out to be the victim. Again. But this time, people weren't buying it as much. More people started messaging me privately, saying they were sorry they believed her, saying they saw now how obsessed she was. The court date for terminating Matt's rights came. He showed up. Alone. He looked terrible. Disheveled. Angry. Wild-eyed. Doreen wasn't allowed in the courtroom because of the restraining order. I sat across from him, holding every photo, every text, every video ready. Matt didn't even deny most of it. He just kept saying, "She's trying to erase me. She's trying to destroy my family." The judge listened quietly, then asked one question. "Have you at any point, Mr. ______, place the emotional or physical well-being of your son above your anger at your ex-wife?" Matt couldn't answer. He just sat there, mouth open, red-faced. That moment changed everything. The judge ruled in my favor, temporarily. She said there would be a 6-month evaluation period. If Matt continued violating orders or failed to show true reform, his parental rights would be fully terminated. That night, I got another message. It was a screenshot someone sent me. Doreen had posted a picture of herself holding a tiny blue baseball jersey that said "Future Star" and the caption, "Real family always finds a way. Stay tuned." It had hundreds of likes. The next morning, when I dropped my son at daycare, the worker pulled me aside. She said, "There was a woman here yesterday asking questions about your son. She said she was his grandmother. She asked what time you usually pick him up." My blood ran cold. I had never told Doreen where my son went to daycare. I changed his daycare that same day. Started carrying pepper spray. Installed a security system at my new apartment. Alerted the police. Alerted the daycare. I lived in lockdown. But no matter how careful I was, the attacks kept coming. Some nights I'd find notes stuck under my windshield wipers. "You're poisoning him against his family. He'll hate you one day. You'll lose him." They never signed them, but I knew it was Doreen. Or Matt. Or both. Meanwhile, Matt kept missing court-ordered therapy. Kept posting passive-aggressive garbage online. The 6-month period was ticking by. And the closer we got to the final court date, the more desperate they became. The final month before the court hearing, things got even darker. One night, around 11 p.m., my doorbell rang. I froze. I wasn't expecting anyone. I grabbed the pepper spray and looked through the peephole. It was Matt. He was standing there, swaying slightly, like he was drunk or high. I didn't open the door. I didn't even speak. I just called the police. He stayed outside, pounding on the door, yelling, "Let me see my son. You can't do this to me. You owe me this. You owe me." When the police showed up, they found beer bottles in his car and a small bag of weed in his pocket. He got arrested for trespassing again. And for DUI because he had driven drunk to my place. That arrest sealed his fate. At the final court hearing, his lawyer barely even tried. The judge reviewed everything: the stalking, the threats, the social media posts, the harassment, the daycare incident, the DUI, and ruled that Matt's parental rights were terminated. Permanently. He was no longer legally my son's father.
Nový šetaštěn.
No shared custody. No rights at all. I changed my son's last name the following month, back to my maiden name. It was one of the hardest but strongest moments of my life. I thought maybe, finally, Doreen would back off too. But of course, she didn't. 3 weeks later, I got served with a lawsuit. Doreen was suing me for grandparent visitation rights. Apparently, in Ohio, grandparents can sometimes petition the court to get time with a grandchild, even if the parent says no. I almost laughed when I read the papers. After everything she did, after the stalking, the filming, the threats, she really thought she still deserved to be in my son's life? My lawyer wasn't worried. She said, "Let her try. The evidence is on our side." At the hearing, Doreen wore a bright pink suit and crocodile tears. She told the judge how much she loved my son. How devastated she was to be cut out. How unfair I was being. How I was robbing a child of a grandmother's love. When my lawyer showed the judge the screenshots of Doreen's harassment, the videos, the daycare incident report, the police reports, the restraining orders, Doreen's face crumbled. The judge denied her request on the spot.
Nový šetaštěn.
No rights. No contact. Ever. Outside the courthouse, Doreen tried to approach me. She screamed in the parking lot. "You think you won? You're nothing. You're a bitter little girl. He's going to come find me one day and hate you for what you did." I didn't even flinch. I just strapped my son into his car seat, got in the car, and drove away. We left her standing there, shaking with rage, talking to no one. After the courtroom battles were done, I thought maybe life would finally calm down. And for a little while, it did. I focused on building a stable life for my son. Work, daycare, bedtime stories, first steps. Normal things. No more random cars outside. No more nasty notes under my windshield. No more strangers tagging me in Facebook drama. It was peaceful, but I still lived with scars. I didn't trust easily anymore. I checked every window twice before bed. I hesitated to post even the smallest happy moment online. Matt tried once more to contact me, through a fake email account pretending to be someone from my old college. He wanted to accidentally reconnect, to try to worm his way back into my life. I reported the email, added it to the restraining order file. Meanwhile, Doreen moved out of state. She sold her house and left Columbus altogether. Word got around that she had blown through her savings trying to fund the lawsuits against me. She lost friends too. Once people saw the full story, a lot of them quietly dropped her. Her little grandma army disappeared. No more pictures. No more proud Facebook posts. Nothing. She was a ghost. As for Matt, the last I heard, he was living with a buddy across town, working part-time at a car wash, and drinking more than he should. He lost his license after the DUI. He was arrested again 6 months later for another drunk driving incident, this time without insurance. No wife. No kid. No Doreen to bail him out. He had nothing. I didn't feel joy over it. But I didn't feel sorry either. Choices have consequences. He made his. I made mine. Sometimes at night, after I put my son to sleep, I sit by his crib and just listen to him breathe. Safe. Unbothered. Loved. He'll never remember the chaos he was born into. He'll never know the way they tried to use him like a trophy. Because I stopped it. Because I chose to burn the bridge instead of letting it rot under us. And if someday he asks me why he doesn't know his father or his grandmother, I'll tell him the truth. Love doesn't hurt. Love doesn't take your privacy. Love doesn't steal your first breath and sell it for Facebook likes. We are not missing anything. We are whole. Just the two of us. And the people who thought they could own us, they're the ones left with nothing but regret.